The first time I met Caleb Harker, he was standing on the porch with a dish towel over his shoulder, like hospitality could be worn. He was shorter than I'd pictured, quick smile, keys in hand. "You must be Maya," he said. "Welcome home." I needed a room, fast, cheap, close to the office in a city that charges rent for the air. Caleb's listing looked normal. Light-filled bedroom, furnished, walkable. We did a short video tour. He sounded sane, and the price was a sigh I could afford. My parents didn't love the male roommate part. I promised boundaries, locks, precautions, and texted my best friend Priya the address with an eye roll emoji that meant keep an eye on me. Move-in day was a weekend. The house was a modest one-story with a crooked lemon tree out front. Caleb helped carry 2 heavy boxes and did not lift the lighter ones, which I filed under neutral. The room was already furnished. Queen bed, dresser, a bookshelf that bowed under the weight of the last person's paperbacks. "She moved out suddenly," he said, the way people talk about weather. We did rules in the kitchen, label shelves, alternate trash nights, quiet after 10:30, no overnight guests without warning, and please, no new locks. He said it with a laugh, like a joke that had already been tested. "Old house," he added. "Locks make doors angry." I laughed too because it was easier, and unpacked my life into a place where my name did not exist yet. The first week felt fine, the way a chair with a crack feels fine. I learned the bus schedule, found the cheap grocery, learned the corner with the mean wind. I worked late, came home to a clean counter, and told myself I was lucky. The only wrong note was small enough to dismiss. My hamper looked touched. Clothes were stacked differently. A pair of underwear I'd bought last payday wasn't in the wash. I searched the room, then searched again. I told myself I'd miscounted. I told myself I was tired. I told myself a story I could sleep inside. On Wednesday, Caleb texted, "Dinner on me to welcome you?" I said I had deadlines. He countered with drinks, just one. I sent an apologetic emoji. He replied with, "No worries, rain check." The smile in the text felt a half-inch closer than it had on the porch. The next night, I swapped out my doorknob for a locking one I bought at a hardware store. I did it quietly while Caleb was out. 15 minutes with a screwdriver and a YouTube tutorial. I left the old knob in my closet as if secrecy could count as manners. At 1:30 in the morning, someone tried my door. It was a slow, deliberate test of the handle, the way you touch a sleeping animal to see if it wakes. The lock held. Footsteps receded down the hall. The house remembered how to be quiet. In the morning, a text from Caleb. "We need to talk. Come home after work." No emoji. At lunch, he added, "New lock? Remove it tonight." The ex? I typed 3 versions of no and deleted all of them. I sent, "I'm uncomfortable sleeping without a lock." He replied, "Not how we do things here." Old house. Then, put the original knob back. I did not. I worked late. When I came home, his door was closed. The hallway felt like a throat. The knock at our door came the next afternoon when Caleb was out. A woman my age stood there in a denim jacket, hair pulled into a practical bun. "Are you Maya?" she asked. "Living here with Caleb?" She didn't wait for my answer. "I'm Lena. I lived here before you. And before me, there was Brooke. I don't want to freak you out, but..." She inhaled, then said it fast. "He has restraining orders, plural. He's charming until he isn't. Please be careful. Better move." The word move is heavy, even when it's true. "How do you know I was here?" I asked. "I saw you a week ago bringing boxes in," she said. "I waited for him to be out. He always wants control of the first and last conversation." She gave me her number and left like someone who'd learned a fire exit by heart. I started packing that night quietly. Priya found a sublet across town. Small studio, more money, more locks. I texted Caleb, Family thing came up. I'll need to leave tomorrow. Can we prorate? He didn't respond. When he came home, he managed a neutral face and said, "Sure, I'll get cash in the morning." An hour later, he knocked on my door and called through the wood. "Hey, did some girl talk to you?" I said, "No." "What?" He paused. "Never mind, you seem jumpy." I said nothing. Silence broke into small pieces and slid under the door. I fell asleep early on the theory that unconsciousness is a kind of boundary. At 2:07, I woke to the feeling that someone else had decided I should be awake. Caleb sat on the end of my bed. A shape, a weight, the whisper of fabric and the slow exhale of a human being who thinks he has time. When I gasped, he pressed his hand to my mouth and made the gentle sound people make for babies. He said, "I didn't mean to scare you." I moved like a coin getting flipped. The lock on the door meant nothing now that the danger was inside. "Please don't hurt me," I said through his fingers. He removed his hand as if this were a misunderstanding. "Why would I hurt you?" he asked and placed his palm on my knee like we were in a conversation anyone else would recognize. I stood. He didn't move or pretended not to, the way cats pretend not to watch. I went for the door, unlocked it, and slipped out sideways while saying, "I'm calling the police." He said my name the way people say it when they want ownership to sound like intimacy. I stood on the lawn barefoot and dialed 911. I hid in the shadow of the lemon tree and watched the living room window for movement. The dispatcher asked my address and stayed with me until the red-blue punctuation arrived. Caleb opened the door with a brand new voice, warm, puzzled, cooperative. He denied entering my room. He denied touching me. He denied the shape of the air. I told the officers what happened. I told them about the lock. I told them about Lena. One of them looked at Caleb's record in the patrol car and came back with a face that had decided to be careful. "We'll do a standby," he said. "You can pack now." I carried boxes past Caleb while two uniforms watched us be civil. On the porch, I asked him for the rent back while courage was still chemical. He pretended to think, then Venmo'd the exact amount he owed, proof that control can wear politeness like a coat. At midnight, the studio across town smelled like old paint and safety. I cried into a towel because it absorbs and does not echo. Priya brought pad thai and 6 new deadbolts in a bag like a love language. I slept on top of my unpacked life because the floor has no secrets. In the morning, a message from Lena. "Are you safe?" I sent a picture of the new lock and a thumbs up. I added, "Thank you for knocking." She replied, "Please pay it forward." People ask me what the lesson is, and I try not to make it a sermon. It's ordinary, and that's what makes it hard. Locks are for doors, not for people. Boundaries are for people, not for doors. If a house rule feels like a test, it's not a rule, it's a script. Change the scene. If a neighbor knocks to warn you, believe her and move your life. On my phone, there's a note called Safety, boring but true. It says, verify before you trust. Don't explain your no. Text someone your address. Keep one box half packed. If a hand on your mouth says shh, scream with your feet. Caleb still lives in that house, probably telling a version where I was rude, dramatic, ungrateful. That's fine. Let him curate his museum. My version has locks that mean something, a lemon tree that isn't a witness, and a neighbor who taught me how to end a story while I'm still in it. That's the room at the end of the hall, a door that held a line I didn't cross, and a night where I learned that leaving is a skill